So your grandpa has been going on about this Resident Evil shit that he played 60 years ago, and you had the stupid idea of actually giving it a go. But you got no clue how to play them, and you don't want to get stuck for hours doing trial and error. So here are 11 tips for playing Resident Evil. Just a bunch of good tips for those new to old school Resident Evil, or maybe you already know all this stuff and you just want to hear some random Australian man tell you things that you already know. I know I'm using footage of just the first game, but everything I say here applies to every classic Resident Evil game. Tip number 1. Don't fall for the conserve ammo meme. Yeah, that's it. You heard me right. The whole thing about conserving ammo is a meme. It's a joke. The ammo is meant to be used. If you finish the game with 10,000 rounds for your best guns because you were too afraid to use them, then you bought into the meme and you should be ashamed. I know the game looks and sounds spooky, but it's really more of an action game than you think. You're given plenty of ammo to deal with the plentiful enemies. The more careful you are with the ammo, the greater the chance you're putting yourself at risk and just making things harder for yourself. And don't even bother with the whole crap of stabbing zombies when they're down. The knife's only purpose is to waste inventory space. You just have to think about when it's appropriate to use ammo rather than just trying to save it. And a good 90% of the time, it's not a bad idea just to blast guys away. Too long didn't, listen. Don't fall for the conserve ammo meme. Tip number 2. Use the map. It can be easy to get lost in the game world of Resident Evil, which is why the game has maps for you to pick up and use. See why the map here requires a bit of solving to pick up? This is the game directly telling you that this is a valuable item. If you're new to Resident Evil, getting to know the map is just going to make your life so much easier, trust me. Tip number 3. Examine shit. There's probably going to be one time where you've picked up these weird items that don't do anything, and now you're stuck and you just have no clue what to do. Rotate it around and examine it. Chances are you unlock some detail you've missed. Plus it's neat to just examine everything because they have all these cool details. Tip number 4. Stop overloading your inventory. Okay, I got my pistol, the shotgun, ammo for both guns, a full heal just in case something bad happens, and a key to explore places. I'm perfectly ready to take on. Do you get it? You don't need all that crap. You're gonna run around and just not be able to pick up anything. You don't even really need to bring the healing with you. You'll find it in the game world fairly regularly. Tip number 5. Don't be a hoarder. I feel like there's this instinct inside people to go pick up everything that they see and bring it right back to the item box. You don't need to do that. You can just leave that thing there. It's not gonna move. Sometimes it's good to just leave little locations populated with things like herbs, so if you pass them by in future, you have some healing ready without having to go all the way back to the item box. Tip number 6. Always check the environment. Now, most items have this little shiny glint to let you know that you can pick them up, but there's a whole heap of hidden items just to mess with you. Tip number 7. Only beef with guys messing with you. You don't need to kill things that aren't even a threat to you. I'm sure this zombie is a huge dickhead, and I'd be doing the world a favor by blowing his head off, but even bothering to stop and shoot him is just a waste of time. It's not like he's gonna do anything to me. So if stuff isn't really threatening you, why even waste your ammo or time on it? Tip number 8. Blow heads off. When a zombie is moving in to give you a hug, aim up with your shotgun and blow his head off. Just a reminder though, you can only do this with the shotgun and only on zombies. Aiming up with the shotgun won't really change how much damage you do to other enemies, and aiming up with the pistol will do nothing to zombies. Tip number 9. Doggos aren't aggressive. The Cerberus dogs will not attack you if you walk and don't run. So if you just want to avoid confronting them, then just walk around them. But if they nuzzle you too much, they'll get sick of you and try to bite your face. Tip number 10. Hunters ain't so tough. If you're by some impossible metric low on shotgun ammo and you need to conserve, then remember this. Hunters normally take 2 shotgun shells plus 2 to 3 pistol bullets to go down. You don't need to use a 3rd shotgun shell on them. This is a fairly consistent rule throughout the series too, so it's good to remember for the preceding games. Tip number 11. Enemies have invincibility frames. This is the one that only really applies to the first game. Zombies when they're going down and getting up, dogs when they're stunned, and hunters whenever they're not moving toward or attacking you. These are the times when they are completely invincible. Enemies don't have nearly as bad invincibility frames in the preceding games, so you don't need to follow this as much for the games after the first PlayStation release. If you can physically see that you're doing damage to enemies, something like a little blood spurt or they get a little stunned, that means you're doing damage. That's pretty much the rundown and all the basic stuff that you really need to know. If you had trouble with this series before, following these tips will set you on the right path. However, each game is different and has a few unique mechanics inside of them. So if you're wanting tips for a specific Resident Evil game, then stay tuned.